Okay, so I think it's been 5 minutes since we planned to already get started. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for logging in and welcome to another episode of Everything Health and Wellbeing. I'm sure in our various spheres it's 5 p.m. in Ghana, 5 6 actually, 18 6 GMT in the UK, and of course 19 o'clock in the European region. So I'm sure the good evening tag applies for everyone. But if it's morning in your area, it's good and welcome you all the same. My name is PC Nana Yaosafo, a young journalist and GUDNEX advocate ambassador on the platform. I'll be your host for tonight. Now, before we get started, I encourage you all to share the link to this meeting on our Everything Health and Wellbeing platform to family and friends. We certainly can do better than 6, which is the number we have currently, so that more people can get the good news and, of course, enjoy the benefit and the lessons that come with this very important topic. Well, today we're talking about cancer, and the basics we know is that it is a disease in which abnormal cells divide uncontrollably and destroy body tissue. The facts are that it is a leading cause of death worldwide, accounting for nearly 10 million deaths in 2020 alone. To break that down, that is 1 in every 6 deaths. That's how severe or how dreadful cancer is as a disease. The list of celebrity casualties are enormous, which either you're into the sciences or not, you can identify with. We've lost Aretha Franklin, David Bowie, Bob Marley, Irfan Khan, Patrick Swayze, Dirty Dancing fame, Jacqueline Kennedy, Steve Jobs, the Great Walt Disney, and just to mention a few, so many people or so many greats to this tragic disease. Today's speaker is a Kenyan scientist. I don't know if I'm allowed to call you scientist, right? Wycliffe. He's a Kenyan scientist working in the UAE. He has a BSc in biological sciences and biology and MSc in molecular diagnostics. Wycliffe Ciela is the Africa Regional Product Specialist at WuXi Biotechnology Company Limited, a worldwide manufacturer of plastic laboratory products using state-of-the-art technology. And we are so honored to have him tonight presenting on this very important topic. So, Wycliffe, welcome, and I hope you are doing great this evening.
Hello, Staffo. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Excuse me just for a second. Actually, the time difference is a bit challenging on my end. Actually, it's almost 9:30, and I thought we had a difference of 1 hour. But all the same, I'm traveling actually. At the moment, I'm at the airport, and I have like 40 minutes. So I'm just trying to squeeze my time a little bit.
Sure.
I thought I was going to be there on time, but unfortunately. So, well, I think you've introduced everything the way it was supposed to be. And just allow me, maybe you can proceed for some few minutes, and then I'm trying to check my BPT presentation, and then we can proceed.
Okay, certainly. Thank you so much. So that was Wycliffe Ciela. He's our speaker for today. And just to apologize on his behalf in case we've missed the memo so far. He is in the middle of a journey. He's on a trip out of town. So there are a few issues he has to deal with. But certainly, today's topic is quite important. And we'll be discussing it briefly from our various perspectives and the facts we know about it before he joins in on that one. Thank you, Wycliffe, for being honest with us on that end. I'll be waiting when you're ready. Just let us know. Now, the leader of this community, Rita Mensa, is online, and she'll give us her official welcome address and, of course, some of her expectations, some of the things we have to look forward to in today's presentation, as well as a few announcements while we get ready for Wycliffe to be ready for us. So, Rita, if you are available, do serve us with that one.
Okay, welcome everybody to the Everything Health and Wellbeing Community Education once more. We are appreciative of you guys for joining us every time we log on to this platform and then have you on. Thank you so much. And we do urge you all to share the links to get more people on board and then come join us on this education. So as we all know, we are here to educate ourselves on community happenings, everything that is useful to our health and then useful to everybody around us. So today's topic, as he said, is on cancer, and maybe majority of us might have heard it. Some of us might have known family members that might have had it, or in a way, somebody might have lost somebody with such disorder. So we are here to just delve into it on the things that we can do to support ourselves on that angle. So then again, we also do have another education session. So I personally do personal educating sessions, which are on the GUDNEX page, and then my personal page, which is Rita Mensa Kobina page on Facebook, where I share on the GUDNEX page on Facebook as well. So I do urge all of you to get people to watch, mostly on feminine health as well. So yeah, thank you, PSC, for the opportunity given me, and I do welcome you all to the session. And yeah, let's learn together. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita Mensa Kobina. It's a pleasure as usual. And do want to check out her Facebook platform, as you mentioned. Lots of great stuff going on there. I think this afternoon she tweeted, is it polycyclic ovarian syndrome? Quite a mouthful, but she did it justice. PCOS, brilliant submission by all standards. So welcome once again while we wait for Wycliffe, reminding you that today's topic is a very important one. While we wait, I want you to do us this favor. Reach out to friends, reach out to family. Let's share the link as widely as possible. Let's take advantage of the few seconds we have before the presentation to make sure that they all getting on this. You don't need to have any registration or pay any funds or anything. It's absolutely free education on this important subject. Now, if you're not too familiar with cancer, it is the second leading cause of death worldwide. Thus, you have no idea the number of lives that you'll be saving by sharing this link and, of course, allowing people to feeding on this free information. Certainly, if you have any questions also, you can be noting them down. So afterwards, our speaker for today, the person of Mr. Wycliffe CL, can be answering those. So many types of cancer out there: breast cancer, prostate cancer, which our speaker will be dealing into later, basal cell cancer, melanoma, colon cancer, lung cancer, leukemia, which is a cancer of blood-forming tissues, hindering the body's ability to fight infection, lymphoma, and so many others. In case I'm going too fast beyond your comprehension, just be patient. When our speaker comes up, he's going to touch base on all these and, of course, answer all your questions that you have on this leading death of deaths globally. That's the second leading cause of death globally, cancer, which is dread. And I told you, so many celebrities has the world, so many celebrities, fathers, mothers, and over has the world lost. I don't know if Wycliffe is ready for us now. Wycliffe, do you hear me? Are you ready for us this moment? Oh, okay. It appears he's still good. Okay.
So, okay, I hope you guys will just get to hear what I'm going to say, because my background is very noisy, and I think I'll just give you a brief introduction about the topic on cancer, and
Sure.
I can just let you guys to keep discussing. I see from the platform most of my classmates. We schooled together back in Italy. I see they're just part and parcel of the team, so I'm very sure they will also exchange, or they will participate in contributing this topic about cancer. So just allow me to introduce cancer, maybe in a brief introduction. As we know, it's a complex and diverse group of diseases characterized by the uncontrolled growth and division of abnormal cells in the body. So cancer actually is divided into different fields, and it has it has caused a lot of challenges. Sorry? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Please proceed.
So it occurs almost in any tissue or any organ, and it has potential to spread to other parts of the body, which is a process called metastasis. So I think cancer is considered one of the global health challenges at the moment. Well, I'm from Kenya myself, and cancer, maybe I should say breast cancer is the main challenge in Kenya. We have also the prostate cancer as well, and the skin cancer. Those are the main cancers which are causing a lot of challenges in Kenya as we speak, and as per the registration global health registration in Kenya. So causes of cancer, maybe I should talk about a little bit of it. So cancer results from a combination of genetic, environmental, and lifestyle factors that actually involves the fact when you talk about genetics, we start with genetic mutation. That is whereby there is changes of the DNA cells that can lead to uncontrolled growth and division that is contributing to the development of cancer. So some of the mutations are inherited, while others definitely it comes in because of lifetime due to exposure to carcinogenic and other factors. And when I mention about carcinogens, we actually means it's just you are being exposed to certain substances and then the environmental factors that can increase the risk of cancer. This include maybe tobacco because the smokers, the UV radiation from the sun. Talking about the UV radiation, well, recently I relocated to UAE, United Arab Emirates. That is basically it's a desert, and the heat is extremely hot. Actually, at the moment, or the past 1 week, the temperatures has been almost to 45 to 50 degrees, which is extremely hot. And I would like to understand, like how the cancer in this area is just, but I've not understood exactly the UV radiation in this area, why people are not complaining about this. And the cancer rate is a bit low in UAE. So it's something like that should need to be considered compared to most of the parts of the country whereby the extreme temperatures doesn't go beyond 40 degrees and they're affected by the skin cancer. Another factor that causes cancer is the age. When you talk about the age, the risk of developing cancer increases with the age. Genetic mutations accumulate over time. So mostly you'll find the old people, that is between the age of 40 to 60 years old, that are mostly affected by cancer. I think due to the lifestyle, as I mentioned, and the kind of food that they are ingesting in their body. So it keeps accumulating as we go along. And then we have also the family history. That is, some individuals actually may have the higher risk of cancer due to the inherited genetic mutations that predispose them to these diseases. And then when I talk about the lifestyle factors, that is whereby we have unhealthy lifestyle choices, such as smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, a poor diet, lack of physical activities, obesity. These are the risks that increases the cancer. And when you talk about maybe, for example, excessive alcohol, that is where the most important part for me. Well, alcohol is differentiated into different classes. We have the whiskeys, we have all the beers, and we have the wines. Well, myself, I did some lessons about the wine tasting and everything. And I would recommend, wine is not something that can be considered as an alcoholic drink in terms of if you abuse, it's alcohol. But as a scientist, I would recommend to anybody, if you are able to drink wine, I would recommend you drink wine because it really helps you to cut off the weight, let me say so. In terms of, they say a glass of wine is just equivalent to 2 hours in the gym. So you need to consider that if you are an alcohol drinker, you should stop excess alcohol, but you should consider wine. It's not alcohol from my point of view. So types, we have different common types of cancer. We have over 100 types of cancer, each which is unique. It has unique characteristics and the treatment approaches. Some common types of cancer include the breast cancer, which is the main challenge in the world now. And it affects the breast tissue predominantly in women, but can also occur in men because we all both have breast, but it functions differently. And then we have the lung cancer, which arises in the lung tissues, and primarily it's linked to the tobacco smoking. So excessive smoking also definitely causes cancer. And then we have, I think what I was going to discuss today was just about the prostate cancer. I'm just trying to create awareness about the prostate cancer because mostly breast cancer has been talked and has been discussed, and awareness has been made on ways of how to, to go for checkup and all the procedures on how to try to understand about the breast cancer. But we as men, we've been left aside, because now considering the second cause of death in men is the prostate cancer. And I've not had a lot of awareness being created about the prostate cancer. So nobody cares about men, if I may say so in quotes. Then we also have colorectal cancer that affects the colon or rectum. This is a very rare cancer cases. It normally occurs in a span of 1 to 1 million. So if you ever come across somebody with this colon cancer, then it's how serious the situation is. Then we have the skin cancer, which includes the basal cell carcinoma, the squamous cell carcinoma, melanoma, commonly caused by the excessive sun exposure. So we have diagnosis and treatment. The best option, we normally say, prevention is better than cure. So in this case, cancer, when you talk about prevention is better than cure, it's just meaning you should be able to be diagnosed every single time. I think at the moment we should consider maybe if we have politicians in future, maybe we should consider that it should be mandatory for anybody to call for a checkup before being employed or just before doing anything that entails the government options, because it's just trying to play a role of you're helping your people from your country. And I would say it should be something that should be considered a lot. So we have also the diagnosis of it done by imaging test, biopsies, laboratory examinations, and due to the affected areas. Treatment options depend on the type and the stage of the cancer, but may include surgery, radiation therapy, chemotherapy, and immunotherapy. So I'm just trying to talk about the prostate cancer, which that was my topic of choice for today. And when we talk about prostate cancer, actually it develops in a mass prostate that is in the gland just below the bladder that produces some of this fluid and semen. It is the most common cancer in men after the skin cancer, actually. And prostate cancer often grows very slowly and may not cause significant harm. But sometimes they are very aggressive and it can spread quickly without treatment. So prostate cancer symptoms, we have different signs and symptoms of the prostate cancer. We have difficulty urinating, frequent urination overnight, burning sensation when urinating, blood in urine or semen, chronic pain in back, hips, and the pelvis. So these are some of the symptoms of the prostate cancer. But do not confuse with STDs and UTIs, because these symptoms eventually they have more or less the same symptoms like the sexually transmitted diseases and the UTI. So if you have such kind of symptoms, just consider going for extra checkup for the cancer, and you might be in a position to be saved, because early detection will definitely help you for future. So prostate cancer risk factors, as which I want to talk about. We have the age, because when you talk about age in prostate cancer, it's predominantly the disease of older men. The risk of developing prostate cancer increases significantly with the age, especially in men over 50 years old. And then we also have the family history. That is whereby we talk about genetics, the history of prostate cancer, particularly in the first degree, that is with your relatives, be it your father or your brother, which can increase the risk of developing the disease. So it's an inherited disease. And then we also have the ethnicity. So prostate cancer is more common in the African Americans, men actually, and those the African descent conversely. So I was a bit concerned about why is it affecting most of the Africans and Americans actually, but not the Asian men. The Asian men, they have a low risk. Maybe because we are all people who are just around here, considering the diet and also the activities that we do as as adults, maybe too much or excessive, maybe from just my perspective point of view, because we as African and the African Americans are very sexually active. So maybe that is the topic that should be discussed, and a lot of research has to be done when it comes to that. We also have the geographical background. The incidences of prostate cancer varies geographically, with higher rates observed in the Northern America, Europe, Australia, and the lower rates in Asia and a little bit of Africa. Maybe because Africa, nobody is concerned about. I don't think it's a bit lower in Africa because they've not been highlighted, or nobody is taking care of the awareness in Africa. So, and nobody is going for this kind of checkup. People die at an early stage. So maybe they die with different situations, but they cannot rule it out to be a prostate cancer. But I don't think it's a lower rate in Africa. Then we have the hormonal factors, testosterone, the male sex hormone, which is thought to play a role in prostate cancer development. Men with higher levels of testosterone or increased sensitivity to the hormone may have an elevated risk. And then we have also diet, which plays also an important role. Some studies suggest that diet high in red meat and saturated fats and low in fruits and vegetables may be associated with a higher risk of prostate cancer. This part of that, I think I'm going to shift something to one of our members who is just around here. She's a nutritionist, and I know she has more knowledge about the nutrition aspect. So Tess, welcome to this platform, and I think you'll just communicate, or you'll participate in something regarding the diet when it comes to cancer. So, well, I think up to where I've just given you guys the highlight. I'm really sorry because I'm just in a rush, and my flight will be just in the next few minutes, and maybe you can discuss more further about the prostate cancer, the breast cancer, and the rest of the cancer, which is actually we consider as one of the enemies in the global part of the world. So, well, just allow me to pin it down. I'm using my phone, so I couldn't be in a position to share my PPT, which I was not able to trace it. But promise, I'm gonna just try to fix, and next week I think I'll do something on the breast cancer and more deeper to molecular aspect, and we'll see what will happen. Okay.
Okay, Wycliffe. Thank you so much, Wycliffe, for that one. Brilliant. I'm surprised you are even in the middle of a trip, because that seemed quite comprehensive. Short, but comprehensive. I'm sure many of us have learned quite a lot with this discussion. I don't know, from the looks of things, it doesn't seem to be available to answer certain questions, will you?
Well, yeah, I still have more than 10 minutes, so we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. I love that. So if you have any questions, quickly before Wycliffe gets off, he needs to be on the tarmac flying out of town, as he said. If you have any questions, if you have any contributions, this is the time. We're talking about cancer, in particular prostate cancer. And I like how passionate you were saying that. Well, it seems no one cares about the men. Well, people do, but as Beyonce said, women and girls around the world. So it would seem there's that kind of bias there inherently. But of course, men's lives does matter as well. And since we are dealing with the second leading cause of death of many men across the world, definitely prostate cancer is a conversation we all need to have. So if you have any questions, contributions, feel free to raise your hand. Feel free to get in on the conversation briefly before we lose our speaker for the day, till next week, of course. So I seem to have seen your hand up. Is Sieni right? Yes, I saw your hand up earlier. Do you have a question? Okay. So, Rita, do you have anything to add?
Cliff asked, what do you call it? Test to add up to the nutrition aspect when it comes to cancer being a risk or being a factor. Being a risk to cancer and some of these things. So when it comes to food being a risk factor to the cause of cancer, it's largely to do with the amount and the type of food that we eat. So I think I did this on my Facebook page today. So when it comes to the food that we eat, there is a need to have an energy balance in the sense that what you eat, you have to be able to get rid of from your system. So when you eat, mostly you get some filtered, you absorb some of the nutrients, and then you get rid of some of them as well. So the ones that you get to keep shouldn't be too much from what you might need. If it's a sugar, the ones that are absorbed into the bloodstream or wherever it needs to act, if there is excess of it, there is no more excretion that's going to happen from the ones that are remain behind. And these sugars tends itself to be adipose tissues that lies beneath your skin. And when you have excess adipose tissues that are not acting or that are not turning into act on your cells, they act as signals that activates cancerous cells. And also a lot of sugar in our system tends to feed so many negative bacteria and then leads to the progression of cancer. So in so many angles, when we have so many preserved food have a lot of sugar, salt, and certain things. So for instance, you get people that buy processed meat or meat that has been butchered from the butcher, and then it goes to the supermarket and it lasts for 10 days. There is no way you can keep meat for 10 days without losing the color. So they add nitrates or some other compounds that makes it look reddish for a longer time. And then these compounds that are used are carcinogenic. So when you say carcinogenic, they have the tendency to cause hyperregulation or blocking some of the pathways that leads to correcting certain mistakes that do happen to us. So there is the need to check our diet. There is the need to do more exercises. There is the need to eat fresh food, because when you are actually eating a processed food, the probability that you are not going to get it as it is high, because if you keep food, it goes bad. So you can't preserve food without adding sugars and salts that are detrimental to our health. So in a way, if you regulate your health by eating healthier, doing more exercises, and all of these related stuff, it could help you as well. Yeah, so just a little bit to add on the food aspect that he asked.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Kobana, for that one. Are there any further additions or any questions, contributions on this particular topic? Cliff, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still around.
Okay, so we still have a lot of grace period, people. If you have any questions, suggestions, now is the time getting on the conversation. Definitely very important. He hinted that next week, God willing, we will be getting into the areas of breast cancer and others. But today we dealt with the introduction to cancers, especially prostate cancers, and what we can do. He mentioned how the interesting issue with the UV rays, and of course, how family history has a thing to do with it. It can be hereditary. Also, alcohol, excessive smoking are terrible for your health, especially as far as cancer is concerned. Then he zoomed into prostate cancer, where we as men, in his words, have been left aside in out of the conversation. He's raising some awareness on that, and how the second leading cause of death of men. Also, it's encouraged that we go have periodic tests and screening for cancer. There are hormonal factors to bear in how this works. Even at some point, you can even get sexual, as you mentioned, that there is that difference between the Asians and the risk of them getting prostate cancer as compared to us in Africa. And of course, we just had talk from Rita Kobina-Mensah, adding up to the issue of red meat and the dietary factors, which research is trying to establish as whether being carcinogenic or not. So if you have any questions, any contributions, please feel free. The floor is yours. And after a few minutes, we wrap this up kindly.
I think Ernestina's hand is up.
And Ernestina, I can see your hand up. You're allowed to ask your question or contribute. Hello, Ernestina. Yeah, so Miss Techi Menson, Ernestina, we are waiting for your question. Okay, I think she's having a few network issues. Okay,
Dr. Linda Koriata, we would like to have your input on this one. You can't skip over this. No.
Rita,
No.
thank you for this opportunity. I think I'm sorry, it's my son, don't mind me. One thing I can say about the hereditary or genetic factors about cancer is that you can't do anything about it. So if you are predisposed, that it means if your parents have a gene that is known to cause cancer and can be activated and it's being passed on to you, even if you eat well, even if you exercise, there is nothing you can do about it. But then what you can do is frequent checking. So if you go to the hospital for checkup earlier, maybe it can be detected earlier and then treatment can begin earlier to save your life and for it. And then when it comes to the pre-screening, as I just mentioned, a place like Europe, if you are a lady at the age of 25, it's compulsory to go and do pap test, which is used for cervical cancer, to detect early cervical cancer. And also for breast cancer detection, it is compulsory. You will receive a letter in your house to go and check this. So if you are living in a country where this is not compulsory, then you are being advised to do it yourself. And then when it comes to the prostate cancer, I feel like the men are protesting that they are being left alone. I think it is how society position men like, oh, you are strong, you don't have to you are supposed to you are the one to face the difficult things and stuff like that. So even if they are sick, they try to act strong without going to check themselves. And then with women, any little thing, they will rush to the hospital that I'm not feeling well or something like that. But then this is a huge education. As we educate ourselves as men, we should also know that we are supposed to do regular checkup for our prostate. And I think in Ghana, they used to, it's not a cancerous type, but maybe the benign type of prostate that people get a very enlarged scrotum or something like this. I think it's popular there. So I agree with Wycliffe saying that it's not because the prostate cancer is less in Africa, but because probably we don't check. So what the take-home message I will add is, if you are genetically predisposed, it's better to be visiting the hospital earlier. And at the future I see in this is genome editing, whereby your gene can be edited and maybe the mutation gene there can be corrected by several tools like CRISPR-Cas and stuff like this. So genome editing is here to stay, but as it will be allowed to be tried on in babies, for instance, maybe you and your husband have given birth and the child is predisposed. I mean, what do you do? Would you like to genetically test the editing, genome editing tools to save your child, or you leave it to God as we usually do in our side of the world? So I would say that from now forward, I think genome editing tools will be used for the genetically predisposed people, because then it's really sad that you are sick but you can't do anything about it. And now there are also. Don't worry about it. Hello, is someone speaking?
I think is it Femena was speaking, but her sound is off now. You can continue, Linda.
Okay. So yeah, and my husband just said that for the genome editing, because of ethical reasons, it will take long for it to be effective, because we have all these ethical concerned people that don't want anything to be tried on mammals, including humans, which is also fair. So I think regular checkup is the way to go if you are predisposed. And the question is, how do you even know you are predisposed? Now there are a lot of DNA testing kits that I see people use to check their ancestry heritage, to know where they come from, usually among the Black Americans, to know where they come from and stuff like this. These same kits can be used to check your predisposed diseases. So if you are interested in knowing your genetic predispositions, you can get this kit, you test it, post to them, they will reply you with the results and know which disease that you are predisposed to and what kind of things you are supposed to do to prevent them or to slow the occurrence of it. So this is what I can say for now.
Okay, brilliant one, Linda. I'm sure we are glad you spoke out now. Certainly a lot you've learned with the genome editing and all those other factors. Well, in that regard, the issues of masculinity, which you mentioned, and others, they have a stronger role in us getting rid of certain diseases. Last week, I remember we dealt with mental health, and there are lots of things that we still have a long way to go as far as our health is concerned and how we think about them, because it can affect, of course, the cures and the lengths we'll go to have ourselves free of such diseases. Thank you so much, Linda. That was pretty helpful. I don't know who's next, and if there are any further contribution to add to this one before we wrap up shortly.
Maybe just in addition, before I leave to what Linda have just mentioned. So thank you, Linda. That was very, very incredible. Sure. Just a small addition. She mentioned about the genetic testing, early detection, and also maybe some cancers as well. Before, if you know that your family is just having that the genetic disorder, I would say there is also what do we call risk reducing strategies of removal of those organs that are at risk before the cancer develops. So some organs actually it can be removed because it doesn't function in the body. So for example, one of the breast cancer, if you know that your family is just affected with this kind of specific cancer, some organs can be removed earlier than before it starts to develop. I hope it does and it functions actually.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Cliff. And it goes a long way to show that even with all that we are learning, technology is playing a core factor in getting our health out there. So definitely, as we progress, the threat of cancer can be attacked in different various forms, depending on how far you're willing to go with the scientific community, research, and other factors like that. I'm sure that in itself is quite an interesting conversation. We can have some time here. The contribution and the aspect of technology as far as curing certain ailments are concerned. Thank you so much, Cliff, for that one. I'm sure this might be a sign. This might be your last presentation before we take leave of you. If there are any others, we'll have them now. If within the next minute there aren't any, we'll thank you all and hand over back to Rita Kobinat-Mensah. So if there are any contributions or questions, please let us have them now, and we'll wrap up shortly.
Yeah, I believe there are a lot of people on the platform that I would want to add up. I can see Efemina. I can see Efemina's sister behind Efemina. So if you can contribute, it will be great. Yeah, we have Sister Pia, we have all of you guys. If you can put in an input or say something, share with us somebody's experience, it will be great. It will be great because it's a community and we seek to connect with ourselves in as much as we get to study and get aware of some of the things revolving around us. So if we can get you guys to speak, it will be good. Yeah. We have about 15 minutes to actually 1 hour. So we could do justice to the 1 hour if possible. If not, I hand over to our journalist in charge today, PSD and I are Safo, to continue his good work. Yeah.
Hello, and thank you, everyone. Good evening. You just put me on the spot. I'm Ife, by the way. It has really been a great presentation from Wycliffe and everyone that contributed. The only thing I'm going to come in the aspect of public health, and that is bit of prevention. That's the only thing I'm just going to add. What I'm seeing the bit of coming from the bit of prevention is, we know that when it comes to cancer, we know that it can be genetic. We know there are some things that we can't really determine if someone is going to get cancer or not. But the only thing I can add is there are some things we can do to actually prevent cancer from coming. And we know that some of the things that we can do to reduce our risks is doing your regular checkup. Like Dr. Linda has already said that you should check yourself genetically to know if you are prone to having cancer. Apart from that, when we're talking about things you can do to help reduce your risks is you should not involve in smoking or drinking, because you know that you're predisposing yourself to lung cancers. And then there are also some things you can do to actually help yourself. So when we're talking about being overweight, you end up, so these are the things we're talking about. So what I'm trying to say here is, I'm coming in the bit of providing information about prevention, what you can do to actually help reduce your risks, to just have a healthy living, healthy lifestyle. And this is where nutrition comes in, which I know that Tess is going to speak about when she has an opportunity to talk about healthy eating. And also involve yourself with physical activity. These are all the things you can actually help to reduce your risks of cancer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Femina. Yeah, well, I'm really wondering why you were, waiting behind the scenes. We got quite good advice from you. Thank you so much for that one. Brilliant by all standards. I think at this point we will be bringing our show to an end for today. Thank you so much for your time. Once again, encouraging us all that the strength and the progress of this community relies on us as individuals. Let's do well to share it widely and viral. Let's go viral on all our platforms. Let's reach out to our younger siblings, family, acquaintances, workplace platforms, on WhatsApp, on Twitter, Instagram, all our social media outlets. We need as many people as possible joining the community so it can be strong. Health definitely is first wealth. We thank you all for your time tonight, and it's been a pleasure serving you. My name once again is PSC Nanaya Safo. I'm now handing over to the community head, Rita Kobina Mensah, who gives us the last words for today as we await another amazing session next week.
Thank you, PSC Nanaya Safo, for the wonderful hosting you give us on this community. As you've already said, we are appreciative of everybody's participation, and it is a wonderful one, because on a weekend like this, to get people joining a community and staying for about an hour or over sometimes, we would say thank you to you all. And then, as he rightly said, we need to share the link to people to get to hear what we do here, even if they don't come to join us. And then we can reach a lot of people, get to educate ourselves better. And then whichever things we have coming up for this community can go on. And also, I would also like to say that we said we were going to do a fascinator training for people that were interested. up to date, we've not had anybody wanting to learn the fascinator. So I believe we are all good. We don't want to learn anything for free. So if we get people that are interested in learning, we can set a date to do it. And aside that, thank you all for your contribution, wonderful contributions, and the teachings you keep giving us on this community. Thank you all for your participation. I'll hand over to PSA Nanaya Osafo to wrap up. Thank you.
Well, Rita, you are supposed to wrap us up. We are all done for the day. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. I don't think we're going to end saying that one. Do join us next week. We hope the numbers do double or triple next week. It's been a pleasure having you, and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.